Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a
Take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. But God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. All right, so as I am recording this episode, it's episode 895. As I'm recording, it's Saturday, August 23rd. It's 2:51 p.m., which means we're smack in the middle of just the third game of the series. We're smack in the middle of the third game of this 4-game Boston set. It is, I haven't watched, but it's the 6th inning, maybe the 5th inning. And I'm going to record this episode right now because the Yankees have lost the series and they're most likely going to get swept. And so why waste my time, right? Why waste my time and wait and take notes and do all this research on a team that's just not wasting their time on being serious, right? They remain a laughing stock of the league, or at least for quote-unquote contenders. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about this Boston Red Sox series as we're halfway through the third game because we already know what the results will be. I turned this game off, I don't know, what was it, the third or fourth inning, whenever it became 2-0. Once Will Warren gave up those 2 runs, that's when I turned it off. I turned the first 2 games off in the same fashion once Boston put some runs on the board. Yesterday, on Friday, I turned it off in the 7th inning when they scored. And on Thursday, I turned that shit off. I think it was when the Yankee bullpen started to melt down in the 6th inning or something. So I've been doing that a lot this year. Turning the TV off, turning my phone off, not listening, not watching, not following the game. By far, it's been the least I've watched this Yankees team this year. And I think that's very sad, but I'm also like in a good state of mind because I don't bother to let it affect my mental health anymore. So that's why we're recording this during the game, and I don't even have the game on for background noise. I got Cops on the TV playing right now. I'm watching Cops as I talk about this disgraceful organization. So as we dive into this, just wanted to give you a heads up there, rather before we dive into this. But yeah, so the Yankees have their cute little 5-game win streak, 7 of 8, 8 of 10. You know, an adorable little stretch there, because just like any team should be able to, they beat the Twins, Cardinals, and Rays. Right? They can beat other non-contenders. They can beat minor league ball clubs. Cool. Good for you. You do what you're supposed to do. But they remain in the same boat that they've remained all year, and they cannot beat actual contenders. The Yankees have mastered the art of losing big games. They've been losing big games all year. The funny thing is, like, the Boston Red Sox aren't even a team I would consider a good opponent. I don't think they're a quality team. I think they have a lot of problems. I don't think they're very talented. They're a mess defensively themselves. And I don't really trust their pitching staff. I don't think it's that talented in the bullpen. But you know what the Boston Red Sox do that other contenders, except for the Yankees, can do? The Boston Red Sox can run, they play hard, and they will put the ball in play to force the Yankees to play the sport that they play. They force the Yankees to play baseball, right? And we've been saying this all season long. It's embarrassing that that's a sentence we have to say. But every single game, whether it be against the Dodgers, even against Toronto, against Boston, against Houston, the Yankees beat themselves because when they're forced to play the game, to do the in-betweens, they've got no clue what the fuck they're doing. They start kicking, dribbling, coughing, and spitting the ball around the diamond. It's a circus act. It's a bunch of drunken men. It's a bunch of children. You can go back to Thursday, the first game of this series. What a great first impression the Yankees made. They made 3 errors in the second inning of the game. They looked totally unprepared. It was almost perfect. It was almost perfect that it came so early because it just puts you right in that mindset. It's like, okay, now you know we don't have to take this team serious and we can't be let down the rest of the way because we expect the worst. But yeah, they can't play a clean baseball game against teams that matter. And they make 3 errors in the second inning on Thursday. Just looked totally unprepared. You know, Giancarlo Stanton couldn't get to a fly ball in right field. Whatever, it's Stanton. But Luis Heel can't field a routine chopper. Puts a guy who has not hit for any... He hasn't hit a lick, but Yoshida reaches first base. Jazz Chisholm throwing a ball 100 feet into the stands. Air Mills, a routine double play. Puts a guy on second with 1 out. David Hamilton, nobody knows who he is, steals second, so Ben Rice throws down. Of course, Air Mills that throw. That's a throwing error. Rafaela ends up scoring. And then they play the final, X amount of innings without making the mistake. But of course, you get to crunch time. You get to the 9th inning, and Paul Goldschmidt makes an error at first base, can't field the ball cleanly. That eventually leads to Roman Anthony hitting the big back-breaking home run to put the game out of reach. Goldschmidt couldn't field the ball. Why? Because I think it was Carlos Narvaez who hit the ground ball, was sprinting, hustling down the first baseline to put pressure on Goldschmidt to make the play quick. And the Yankees can't do that. And that was just Thursday. Yesterday, Friday, Austin Wells. How about that one? Getting caught on the bases on a line drive to get doubled up on first base there. Completely murdering a rally. You're taught to freeze on those plays in middle school. They teach you freeze on line drives. Kills a rally. Anthony Volpe, how about that one? Again, crunch time meltdown, that's what he does best. Unnecessary throw to second base on a ball hit to shortstop. Didn't need to do that. Go for the force. 9th inning. Run doesn't score. Doesn't matter. It's the principle. It's rudimentary stuff, guys. Yet another bad cutoff play, I think it was in the 9th inning. Volpe setting up right in front of third base. The throw doesn't even go to second base to get the trail runner. No idea how to handle these relay plays. These cutoffs, they're just running around. No clue. Clueless. Unnecessary. And then today, game's not over yet, so they've got a chance to make even more mistakes. But Austin Wells can't catch a pretty easy foul ball in the 3rd inning that eventually leads to Boston loading the bases and then scoring the first 2 runs off a double. Trent Grisham, I thought there was a fly ball to center field by Rafaela. Ends up being a ground roll double. Boston ends up scoring 2 sack flies because Grisham couldn't track the ball properly. It's just, it's I would say it's so embarrassing, but again, I'm way past secondhand embarrassment. I'm past that, so I am wherever the next tier is. Yeah, it's a bad baseball team. You know that. We know that. I don't think anybody was truly buying in. You know, I said I was hovering around the bait on the hook, but I didn't bite because I wanted to see what they look like. And what do you know, right? The Yankees continue to lose big games, but it's all good, right? The manager doesn't put extra emphasis on certain games because he thinks he sounds professional, but he just comes across as a goof. I think every game's important. No, you're supposed to matter. You're supposed to care and put some extra emphasis on certain games. But, you know, I think the worst part is everybody's favorite dumb manager keeps making excuses for his guys in the postgame. And I think the Volpe stuff has gotten wild with the defending and the toxic positivity. Since they've had this agenda to make Volpe this big marketing figure, the next Derek Jeter, ever since that started, they won't back down on their defense of him because they want him to be that guy, and it puts asses in the seats, and it gives you, you know, it sells tickets, and it's good for their money. Despite Anthony Volpe being such a bust, you know, the third worst WRC plus of all qualified shortstops this year, the third worst on base percentage of all qualified big league bats this year, the 13th percentile. He's 13th percentile in run and fielding run value. I think he has -5 outs above average this year. And this is just this year. We're in year 3. This has happened every year where he's been bad at the plate, and now the shortstop's gotten progressively worse this year. It's just weird because this manager continues to poorly manage some of these games. Like Jose Caballero has been here for weeks now. He's been producing everywhere, defensively, offensively, on the bases, stealing bags. But Volpe's still playing the majority of shortstop reps. How? You know, Thursday night, I thought giving Ryan McMahon that at-bat with the bases loaded, going lefty on lefty against Wilson, I thought that was a poor decision to not bring up Jose Caballero or Ahmed Rosario. Now, you want to say you don't want to burn 2 lefties there against, you know, a left-handed bullpen. Okay, but the Jazz Chisholm at-bat against the lefty Steven Matz in the 7th inning after Ben Rice triples, another poor decision to not pinch hit. Jazz shouldn't be untouchable to pinch hit there. Anybody can be pinch hit for. How do you not go to Ahmed Rosario? Why do we still have a bench? How is Volpe playing every day? How is Rosario, who's got over an 800 OPS against left-handed pitching, not seeing some of these at-bats? Caballero, how is this happening? Why is there a bench? Why did you beef up your bench with right-handed bats? They're a bad team. And as much talent as they have on paper, as much talent as they have in their pitching staff, the rotation, the bullpen, nothing's changed. They're still giving up a bunch of runs. And we talked about this a lot, especially recently. We've been talking about it. The Yankees have a bunch of pitchers who, again, talented live arms, a bunch of pussies who are afraid to attack. Whether it's a lack of command, whether it's actual fear, lack of courage to come inside, or whether it's just too much of an analytical approach where, you know, analytics say to go away from the fastball and use more off-speed and breaking. They throw way too many balls. They don't throw strikes enough. They don't miss enough bats against these teams, and they end up pitching to contact anyway with guys on base because of walks. I think that's where you miss a guy like Garrett Cole, who is known for being fearless and attacking and challenging with his four-seam fastball. I think it showed the importance of Austin Wells the other night why he needs to catch, because he can steal strikes with his framing. I think you saw that on Thursday. The Yankees walked 9 batters with Ben Rice behind the dish. I think you have to put Austin Wells behind the dish. You put Ben Rice at first base because he's a threat offensively, unlike Goldschmidt, and he's pretty much the same defensively as Goldschmidt. As ugly as the fundamentals look, kind of looks like a catcher playing first, but I think that's what you got to do. Yesterday, they listen, Fried pitched well. He was really good. But if we're talking about pitching afraid, he could have went deeper into the game and saved the bullpen from coming in and blowing it as usual if he attacked earlier. The third inning of the game, he gets cute with off-speed pitches to the number 8 hitter. Some random number 8 bat ends up, it's a leadoff walk on 7 pitches because he's throwing a bunch of off-speed and breaking balls. The very next inning, the 4th inning, same exact thing against some random rookie in his major league debut, a 6-pitch walk because he's spamming breaking balls. They spam breaking balls to bottom of the order bats. They need to start challenging hitters. Otherwise, quality lineups like the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox will keep spitting on junk and waiting for when you're forced to challenge them with a fastball and then hitting it anyway out of the park. So the whole purpose of throwing outside the zone gets defeated. It's just they play so different against these teams. They're such cowards. You can see how afraid they are when they actually face a team who's actually competent. Again, it doesn't have to be a good team, just a competent team. So I watch this Yankees team, and this happens consistently. And has their lineup been producing a ton of offense in this series? No. Their lineup's been terrible this series. Terrible. They've been fucking putrid, especially when Boston takes the lead. They respond with no life. And maybe, I think it's fair to criticize that. Aaron Judge continues to never show up in big games. Whether it's against the Houston Astros, the Boston Red Sox, we know he doesn't come up big in the playoffs. Never showing up. When the Yankees face good pitching, who have pitchers who've got their best stuff, it feels like, at least, I don't know the metrics, but it feels like they get shut down. Now, I'm not going to get caught up in the micro, be some prisoner of the moment, and start complaining about the offensive production on this Yankees team, because I feel like when we all look back at this miserable group from 2025, I don't think a single soul, at least a single competent soul, will be complaining about offensive production. I think we're all going to look back at this rotten baseball team and talk about the egregious meltdowns, right? The defense, the base running, the pitching, the bullpen, managing without urgency. That's what we're going to be looking back at. I'm not going to sit here and say this lineup has been a problem this year. You got all these types of narratives that they can't hit good pitching. They only hit bad pitching. Well, every single team in the history of the sport is worse versus elite pitching. That's normal. You got people saying, oh, they're home run or nothing. They don't hit for average. They can't get base hits. I think if you're on that plane or if you're on that train, it's time to adopt. It's 2025. You want to see where the rest of the league is in like batting average? Toronto's first. They hit 267 as a team. The rest of the field, 250s or worse. Everyone from 2 to 15 in batting average is in the same ballpark. They all sit 250, give or take a few points. Nobody is this well-rounded offense that scores from singles, doubles, triples, homers. Nobody does that. That's not where we are anymore. It's a 3 true outcome league. You have to adopt if you're still complaining about the way they get their offense, because at the end of the day, they get their offense. They are top 5 in every major category. Find me a lineup that is perfect in every single category, please. So what I say to the offensive complaints is, how about, hear me out here, how about we learn to win a game behind our pitching and defense for once? Learn to win a 1-0, 2-0 game, because in the postseason, you're going to have to win those types of games. But if you lose games because the number one lineup in baseball isn't producing 12 runs every night, what really is the problem? Tell me. It's just, that's what's been bothering me, and it's been bothering me all year. Pitching and defense, pitching and defense, pitching and defense. It remains a fucking nightmare, just like this disgrace of a baseball team. So hopefully the Yankees go on to lose today. Hopefully they get swept tomorrow, because honestly, like I said, I am so far from secondhand embarrassment. I'm almost the opposite. I want to see them be embarrassed. That's it. I'm done. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast, and I will see you in the next episode of BD4.